The 18th of June 2024, a most extraordinary day in Kenyan politics. Indeed, a most extraordinary day in Kenya. Now, you know there's a theory among some analysts of Kenyan politics who believe they know William Ruto very well. And what they're saying is that all these taxes were put in Finance Bill 2024 because the end game was that Ruto was going to remove some of them and then retain the most important taxes for him to raise revenue. That is their theory. But I beg to differ. Because what unfolded in Kenyan politics today is nothing short of extraordinary. Has never happened before, ever in our history. What am I talking about? Does President Ruto have a reverse gear? I did not think so. I was fully convinced he does not have a reverse gear. Okay? You now followed his career from even before he became the Eldoret North legislator in the Moi days. And I can tell you, Ruto has never had a reverse gear. And I believe this was proved during the passing of Finance Bill 2023. People warned him. People made noise. Experts told him this is going to devastate the Kenyan economy, which we have seen clearly. But Ruto has never had a reverse gear. Well, until today. During a parliamentary group meeting this morning, Ruto and his Kenya Kwanza chaps emerged and gave a press conference where they released information that most of us could not believe was happening. Carefully observing the body language of President Ruto and other key figures at that meeting, it was very clear this was not pre-planned. No! And the Kenya Kwanza government announced to us the 2.5 motor vehicle tax. Poof! Gone. They've changed their minds. The 16% VAT on bread. Gone. The taxation on transportation of sugar. Gone. And the planned taxes in the 2024 Finance Bill, targeted at financial services, forex transactions, excise duty on vegetable oil, sanitary towels, diapers, etc., etc. Poof! Gone. Cancelled. They are no longer in Finance Bill 2024. For the first time in his political career, Ruto has engaged the reverse gear. Whether it was full of rust for lack of use, actually for never being used or whatever, it worked and the vehicle reversed for the very first time. That is just one of the things that happened today that was nothing short of extraordinary. And make no mistake about it, all this happened because of something called pressure from the people. Pressure which was too much that it caused people to behave out of character. Now let's just take a quick look at some of the highlights of this very eventful day. And I need to say, when historians look back at this time in our history, I'm sure one of the things they'll say is that it is the day that the Gen Z, oh yes, emerged in Kenyan politics very forcefully for the very first time. It brought tears to my eyes, I'm not ashamed to say, when I heard young people say that they're going to follow in the footsteps of their forefathers before them in protesting for change, in saying no. Okay? And even more tears trickled down my cheeks when I heard very clearly the old songs from the second liberation of Kenya the aborted second liberation of Kenya, like Bado Mapambano and Yote Yawezekana bila Moi, except that this time round the name of Moi was replaced by the name of the current president. It was a deja vu moment for me, and I'm sure for many others, whom it has pleased Almighty God to have allowed to see us the second liberation unfolding right before our eyes, and kept us up to this moment in our history when the Gen Z are emerging. Very, very unexpectedly, very, very suddenly. Anyway, let me not get carried away by my emotions. I need to focus so that I give you a proper analysis of what's happening. Now, the Law Society of Kenya, early in the day, condemned the arbitrary arrest of Kenyans. Kenyans were just being arrested all over the place, even those who were not protesting. And then during the running battles all day, a police officer lobbed tear gas at a man called Dominic Mtembe, a great supporter of this channel, although they also have their own political YouTube channel. And this vlogger sustained very visible injuries on his tummy. And as I was coming in to make this recording, I had not yet been able to establish the condition of Bwana Mtembe. I wish him a quick recovery. And then there's something else that happened that was completely mind-blowing. The police lobbed tear gas, wait for this one, right inside Central Police Station, Nairobi. Yes, you heard me right. Why? To disperse lawyers who had gathered there in large numbers, to process the release of arrested protesters on bail. Hiyo ulisikia wapi? Yani the police lobbed tear gas into their own police station. Hii maajabu. And one of the people affected by this tear gas was the current LSK, Law Society of Kenya president, Faith Odhiambo. And that, my friends, is only a tip of the iceberg from this very, very eventful day. I don't believe the government was prepared, and I don't believe the government is prepared for the new generation protester. They are not. In fact, let me play a short clip that illustrates what I'm trying to say very clearly. I'll be back shortly.
I'm not going. I'm not going. I'm not going.
Just cooperate.
I'm not cooperating. I'm not going.
Madam.
Don't touch me.
Okay.
I'm not going. I'm not going. I'm not going. I'm not cooperating and I'm not going.
What is your right?
Why are you arresting me?
Why do you protest?
Give me a reason. I protest because you're killing us.
Who is killing you?
You police. You're killing us in our communities. Poor communities. Why do you want to arrest me?
Yay.
People power! People's power! People's power! When we lose our fear, they lose their power! When we lose our fear, they lose their power! When we lose our fear, when we lose our fear, no more killings! No more killings!
What? I believe you had to see that to believe what I'm saying. The emergence of a brand new generation in the fight for a better Kenya. But now let us quickly analyze the political impact of this very eventful day. Okay? Now, a lot of people were having strange dreams about the protests today leading to the end of the Kenya Kwanza government. Oh yes, I'm aware of that. And as we pointed out in earlier videos, that was a stretch. However, what has happened today is very significant going forward. Oh yes, you'd better believe me. Because for starters, the pressure which has been building up, which culminated in the running battles with police today on the streets of Nairobi, close to Parliament, where members of Parliament were going about the motions to end up passing the draconian finance bill. It is that pressure that has led to a dramatic about turn by this government, which worries me in many ways. Because this government that is hungry for money that is not there, because they have literally squeezed everything from the Kenyan, this government is still very hungry for money. And so those taxes that have been withdrawn will have to be replaced. What are they going to be replaced with? Are they going to increase the taxes in the other proposals? I think that is highly likely. And even if they don't, they will have to find another way. These taxes will not just go away just like that. Okay? However, today was a major victory for the long-suffering Kenyan, courtesy of our youngsters. Oh, I'm so proud of the Gen Zs. And that victory of today by the Kenyan people is very bad news for the government. Why? Because the usually very impatient youngsters have done something and they have seen instant results. So imagine how inspired they are now. Just imagine. And that can only mean trouble. Very big trouble for this draconian regime that is completely unfeeling, that has no feelings and is not interested in the well-being of Kenyans. They're not even interested to understand the hardships Kenyans are going through right now because of their policies. And a lot of these policies are foreign, with foreign interests in mind, more than Kenyan interests. Clearly, vitu kwa ground zimechange, whether you like it or not. That is a fact. And what that means going forward is that the pressure will not reduce. Because if the strategy of Ruto handlers was to use the Moi tactics of giving in a little to ease the pressure, I can assure you that this time round it will not work. Why? Because Kenyans have been pushed into a corner. In fact, it is the feeling of many observers that it took too long for something dramatic to happen to illustrate that Kenyans have really been pushed into a corner. And so what happens next is completely unpredictable. I will of course keep you very much posted with what is happening and also keen analysis of the repercussions and consequences going forward. Now, very quickly before I go, in my previous video I spoke about Joey's dad, actually his late dad, who has always held on firmly to the belief that his son is completely innocent. Well, I have a very sensitive, actually two very sensitive special reports that reveal who the real killers and the real killer of the late Monica Kimani is highly likely to be. You don't want to miss this crazy information. You know, very early on, shortly after this murder of Monica Kimani that shocked Kenyans, I released some very sensitive information to a limited audience then. I believe this was in 2018, and I was going through that information last night, and I was shocked at the accuracy of that information and how things panned out, because this was before anybody had been charged for the crime. At that time we only had suspects. Nobody had been taken to court yet. And that information tells you very clearly who the real murderer was, and solidifies the theory that Joey was simply framed, a fall guy. And this information names names, both the powers behind it and the person who executed it. Now, for the super curious and the people who want to know, about only 20 people tops are making available to them these highly sensitive special reports. Actually, there are two of them for only $15 or Kenya shillings 1,999. And therefore, if you're interested in knowing the sad thing that happened to Joey, because it could happen to anybody, you can use the information you see on your screens right now to get your hands on this crazy information. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.